keep telling y'all, street ain't got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that pistol. I knew he was going. He going to jail. All that newborn baby. Boosie won't get to see that newborn baby till that baby be walking and talking. Boosie going to jail.
A lot of things this case has stopped me from doing, traveling all across the world, making. So I just want to get it over with, and, you know, accept my guilty plea. I'm ready to get over it.
Anything you want to say to your fans?
Just say a prayer for me. I just need prayer. I don't need nothing.
Charleston White was celebrating you taking the plea deal. I think he even said he hopes you die in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard.
The biggest thing right now was that you actually accepted a plea deal for your federal gun case.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been fighting this thing from the very, very beginning?
I've been fighting for probably 3 years now, probably.
3 years.
Boosie might be staring down a 10-year federal sentence, and the internet is losing it. Guess who couldn't wait to pop out and clown him? Charleston White. The second Boosie's case hit the blogs, Charleston hopped on live like it was Christmas morning. He was cracking up, saying he knew Boosie would land back in trouble, and even bragged that he'd been waiting for this moment. Then he pushed it even further, saying he wouldn't care if Boosie never made it out again. Wild, right? Boosie had already told fans earlier this month that he took a plea deal because he was tired of all the court drama. He said it felt like the best move, even though the case had been dismissed once before. But prosecutors came back swinging in 2024, re-indicting him, and now he could be looking at over a decade behind bars. While Boosie's been posting emotional messages about trusting God and feeling drained, Charleston's online popping bottles like it's his birthday. It's crazy because Boosie's been dealing with legal issues for years, but this gun charge is the one that really hit hard. He got caught as a felon in possession of a firearm, a charge that's tough to beat no matter who you are.
The feds picked it up.
Now, it was a state case. The feds came, picked it up. They had a ruling in the Supreme Court that went in my favor, and the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped.
At first, it looked like Boosie might have dodged it when the case got dismissed in 2023, and fans thought he was finally free to focus on music and family. But the feds weren't done with him in 2024. The feds came back swinging and re-indicted Boosie on the same exact charge, basically saying, nice try, but we're still coming for you. That's when Boosie finally broke down and took the plea deal. He even went on X and posted, I thought this case was over and I was gonna get on with my life, but God don't make mistakes and I'm tired of fighting. You could feel the pain in that message. It wasn't just another case for him. It was like everything he'd been running from finally caught up. When the news dropped, fans rushed to show him love, but you could tell Boosie was tired to his soul. This wasn't the same Boosie who used to fire back at critics or troll online for laughs. This was a man who sounded completely drained. His post had that heavy mix of faith and surrender, like he was trying to make peace with whatever comes next.
I wasn't gonna go to trial with it from the dump, actually, but I feel like this the right move for me. You know, I trust in God, Black.
If you followed Boosie's story from his Baton Rouge days, you know he's been dodging bullets, literally and legally, for decades. He's survived cases, beefs, and even serious health battles. But this time feels different. 10 years is no joke, and you could see the weight of that reality in every word he typed. While fans were praying for him and sending encouragement, Charleston White was out here doing the exact opposite. He hopped on live, grinning from ear to ear, claiming he predicted this would happen. Charleston said he never believed Boosie would walk free, and now that things are serious, he's celebrating it like a win. He even said he hopes Boosie dies in jail, which is wild even for Charleston, but that's his whole brand. Being the loudest, most outrageous troll in hip-hop.
Boosie going to jail! Oh, God! Oh, God is good. I keep telling y'all, street ain't got no God. God do not look after street. Boosie really thought he wasn't going to jail for that pistol. I knew he was going. He going to jail. All that newborn baby. Boosie won't get to see that newborn baby till that baby be walking and talking. Boosie going to jail!
The worst part? Boosie hadn't even had time to process his own sentencing before Charleston turned his pain into a live comedy show. Charleston White trolling people is nothing new, but his obsession with Boosie feels way too personal. Every single time Boosie runs into legal trouble, Charleston appears like clockwork, ready to stir the pot again. Fans can't help but ask, why does Charleston hate Boosie this much? It's clearly deeper than random internet beef. These two have real history, and that tension's been building for years. It all started back in late 2022 when Kanye West had the internet on fire with that White Lives Matter shirt. Boosie spoke out, saying Kanye was disrespecting black people. And honestly, most folks agreed with him at the time. But Charleston, nope. He jumped online and started blasting Boosie for even speaking on Yeah, turning the whole thing into chaos. That's when it really went left. Because instead of just going at Boosie, Charleston started dragging Boosie's son, Tootie Raw, and even T.I.'s son, King Harris, into the mess. He called them ugly, said they couldn't fight, and even predicted they'd end up in jail one day.
He brought you up because you were attacking Kanye because of the...
Nah, that was, guess Kanye West, it just happened. Nigga been coming at me. He been coming at me, it's just, you know, I can't respond to those people, bro. Like, that's a danger to what I got going on. You can't take no risk of losing this shit behind, you know.
It was messy and low, even by Charleston's standards. That's when people realized Charleston wasn't just another loudmouth online. He was willing to go below the belt, even talking about people's kids just to hurt their parents. What shocked everyone the most was how calm Boosie stayed through it all. Instead of snapping back like fans expected, he kept it cool. In an interview with Tony the Closer, Boosie said that speaking too freely could land him back behind bars, especially when someone's trying to bait him by bringing his kids into it.
You know, I ain't really got no opinion on him because, you know, my opinion can send me to prison. So I ain't really, you know, I ain't really got no opinion on him. You know, once you go to threaten people's kids, talking about you gotta lie. So, you know, I ain't gonna do all that. I ain't gonna do all that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, hey, you know, certain people you can't really express opinions on, and he one of those. You can't express how you feel because you might end up in prison, and I ain't getting tricked off the streets.
So instead of snapping the way everyone expected, Boosie held back and kept his response cool. In that interview, he explained exactly why he didn't go off the way people thought he would. And that line said it all. Boosie wasn't scared of Charleston, not even a little, but he knew Charleston's game. He knew the man was a master at baiting people into saying something reckless that could get them locked up. So instead of taking the bait, Boosie stayed calm, at least on the outside. But by early 2023, the tension between them was boiling over. This feud leveled up fast. Charleston was already clowning T.I. over his paperwork party when Boosie's son Tootie Raw decided to fire back. Tootie called Charleston old and messy and even told him to go die. That's when Charleston, being Charleston, took things way too far. He jumped on live and said, "I hope your daddy die from that diabetes. I hope they forget to send his insulin this month." Like, seriously, who says stuff like that? He basically wished death on Boosie just to hurt his son.
Right, for Boosie, you done got too much. You done let these niggas play you too this internet dumb and say what little Tootie gonna do now? What little to say? Listen, Vlad TV. Vlad post everybody going to jail but Boosie. Somebody tag Vlad TV.
And then, when Tootie got arrested later that same month for a gun charge, Charleston popped out bragging like he made it happen. He even went on live claiming he called the police, sent in pictures, and tipped off the Department of Public Safety. Then he started running his mouth again, saying the cops were already watching Tootie because Boosie was some 6-time convicted killer who used kids to do his dirt. Totally wild. That was the point where this beef stopped being internet trolling and turned into real-life damage. Not even 3 months later, Boosie himself got arrested again in San Diego right after a court hearing, and Charleston wasted zero time celebrating it. He jumped on Instagram Live talking about how it was God's plan, comparing Boosie to Daniel in the lion's den, saying God wanted to prove something through his prison time. The internet couldn't believe how far he was willing to go. Charleston turned Boosie's arrest into a full-blown sermon, twisting it to sound like Boosie's pain was some kind of divine punishment. Fans couldn't even tell if he was serious or just trolling for views. But either way, it came off mad disrespectful. Months later, Boosie finally broke his silence on Vlad TV. He admitted he never even wanted Vlad to interview Charleston in the first place because of all the wild stuff he said about Tootie. And once again, Boosie made it clear he wasn't scared of him. He was just trying to stay out of jail. He even said it himself. So yeah, even though Boosie kept things calm on the surface, you could tell Charleston was living rent-free in his head. The constant jabs, the lives, the interviews, it was non-stop. Then came early 2024 and their beef started leaking deeper into internet culture. Streamer Adin Ross was supposed to have Boosie on his show, but Boosie didn't want to deal with Charleston drama, so he backed out. Next thing you know, Adin flipped the whole story and claimed he turned Boosie down out of loyalty to Charleston White. That lie blew up across social media until DJ Vlad stepped in, calling Adin out for siding with a guy who had said some seriously offensive stuff in the past. That whole mess showed just how deep Charleston's shadow runs. His name had become straight-up clout currency. Even young streamers were using him for views. And still, Charleston wasn't done. By March, he was back online, claiming Boosie had warned promoters not to book him. He flipped that into another rant, saying he'd already contacted the feds and was ready to get Boosie locked up for making what he called threats. This man just won't quit. Charleston didn't just stop at the trolling. He even started mocking Boosie's health just to make the insults cut deeper. Then he went live again, swearing up and down that he was gonna get Boosie jammed up through the FBI. Once again, he had zero proof. But that didn't stop him. He said it loud enough for the internet to hear, and it stuck like glue. Boosie himself admitted that dudes already locked up had been calling him, joking around, asking, "When you pulling up?" Imagine that, carrying the weight of a possible 10-year federal sentence and hearing people behind bars clown you before you even get there. That's next-level humiliation, and Charleston knows exactly what he's doing. Some fans online have even been whispering that Boosie didn't want to risk a trial at all. He went straight for the plea deal, and honestly, who could blame him? Because if Charleston White somehow showed up in that courtroom, everyone knows it would have been a circus. You could practically picture it. Charleston testifying, pointing fingers, turning the whole thing into a viral moment before running straight to the blogs afterward. And honestly, that idea is not far-fetched. Charleston's got a long history of snitching, and he's never denied it. According to reports, when he was just 14 years old, he was involved in a robbery with a few other teens. During that robbery, one of them, Antoine Doolittle, shot a man named Michael Levy. When it came time for court, Charleston testified against him. Now, in street culture, that's seen as unforgivable, even if you're young. And to this day, people still drag him for telling on his crew. But Charleston doesn't shy away from it. He's defended himself plenty of times, saying, "I was young, I told the truth, that's not snitching, that's survival." But here's where things got wild again. Recently, old footage from that juvenile case resurfaced online and the internet exploded. People started calling Charleston a hypocrite, saying, "You can't preach street code one day and brag about testifying the next." And now, that clip has become the internet's favorite weapon to call him out all over again. Charleston doubled down like always, saying he's never lived by any street code and doesn't care who's mad about it, which is wild because he still calls other rappers rats, while proudly admitting he snitched himself. The irony is off the charts. So, when you really think about it, it makes total sense why people are side-eyeing Boosie's decision to skip the trial and take that plea deal. The last thing he probably wanted was to end up in a courtroom where Charleston White might somehow pop up and start running his mouth. This is the same man who brags about calling the cops, setting people up, and reminding everyone that he testified when he was a teen. If Charleston had even the slightest chance to be involved, you know he would have turned that courtroom into his personal stage, pointing fingers, cracking jokes to the jury, and then hopping on live right after like, "I helped put Boosie away." And the crazy part? That's not even exaggeration. That's exactly how Charleston moves. That's why Charleston's been celebrating so loud right now. To him, this isn't just Boosie getting caught up in another case, it's karma. In his mind, it's proof that all his trolling, all his mocking is finally paying off. When you piece it together, from the first shots back in 2022 to the drama with Tootie, the arrests, and all the messy live rants, it's like Charleston's been waiting, maybe even praying, for this exact moment. Right now, Boosie's not behind bars yet, but with this plea deal sitting on the table, the reality is he could be facing a full decade in prison. Meanwhile, Charleston's online clowning like he already won, and the streets are completely split. Some are laughing, others are waiting to see if that hammer really drops. But here's the part that hits the hardest. If Charleston is this loud while Boosie's still free, just imagine the circus he'll create if Boosie actually gets sentenced. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one!